Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard, and with me is Tommy Shelby
Hello.
and Ryan Robinson.
Hi.
So, we are all based in Texas for those who don't know. So it's been 2 weeks since we've talked to each other or recorded together because we've been dealing with the snowpocalypse,
Yeah,
the
we have.
snowmageddon.
It was fucked up.
Yeah. Um, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like very awkward whenever someone asks me like how it went because like people did die from this and I had like such mild like issues comparatively. I'm just like I everyone's safe and healthy,
Yeah,
but
Shanae was sitting nice and cushy on her own little private power grid, while Tom and I suffered cold and in the dark.
Tom
So,
went to
I
his
just went.
sister's
I
house.
went to my sister's house. I was
oh,
fine.
I suffered cold and in the dark. No running
Yeah.
water. No
I
electricities.
um
Well,
I
Shanae
mean luckily
offered for you to go live with her for a minute, so you had somewhere to go.
well the first day I ordered like I offered I knew that the roads weren't drivable for sure. So I was like I know you shouldn't be driving, but like I don't want you cold.
Yeah,
Well, Ryan, it'd be no problem for Ryan. He just busts out those snow chains.
yeah, I have those on hand because it snows
So
every year here in San Antonio, Texas. So I had them at the ready.
yeah,
So,
But no, my power went out for about 4 hours one day and a couple hours the next day, and then we didn't have water for 3 days, and then but my mother-in-law and my parents were basically out of power besides maybe an hour from Sunday night until Thursday. So I had my mother-in-law come and stay with us because she has arthritis and
yikes.
problems.
that's a
I mean,
stand
she
up
was
bit
fine.
waiting to happen.
Uh, We so she they also brought their she also brought their family dog. So Luna had fun annoying that dog. We showed her the movie The Other Guys, and
The dog.
she yeah, the dog and my mother-in-law both of them
Oh,
saw The Other Guys for the first time. Dog completely unimpressed, slept through
sure.
most of it. Mother-in-law loved it. She was crying from like laughing so hard at the beginning scene with Samuel
I don't
Jackson
know what
and The
that
Rock.
is.
I know what I've seen the movie.
The the buddy cop movie with like
Yeah.
Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. But yeah, so the beginning part where Vin Diesel and Samuel Jackson like just jump off the building.
That's Dwayne the Rock Johnson, not Vin Diesel.
Not Vin Diesel, you're right. Sorry, that's my bad.
Wow.
I know who I was talking about, but I was saying
Wow.
the wrong name completely.
Yeah, samesies.
Yeah. So.
I mean, they're two different people. I am wrong. Um, but yeah. So I mean, and that was a pretty like heartwarming moment. So I mean, at least I got like yet again, I feel like I'm just bragging, and like a lot of people did have a terrible like time, but like it wasn't the worst. Family is safe, and I had to spend some really nice quality time with my mother-in-law, which I don't mind. She's super nice.
We're glad you enjoyed everyone else's misery, Shanae.
Yeah.
I'm the worst.
I mean, truly. I read a news report that said that the power went out because Shanae used it all up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
So
I plugged in all of my gaming
she
systems.
was named specifically in that report. So
I'm Ekron.
yeah, but well, I'm glad.
Um,
I'm actually glad that there were people who weren't affected terribly by this whole thing. Um,
how long were you out of power, Ryan?
shit. I guess steadily out of power. I think it was like Monday was when it went out and just stayed off. And it came on a couple times for like 30 seconds and then went back off.
Same with me.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then we kind of just like chilled out. And then at one point we went over to my mom's house to cuz our phones had died and we were out of like water. So uh we went over to my mom's house cuz she had power and we charged up our devices and got some supplies from her house. And and then that evening we came back and the power was on. Uh and so it just kind of it stayed on. It never went
I
back
would
off.
need you to leave.
Yeah.
Just was very embarrassed to start back out. It was like, oh no, they can't see me.
Yeah, the water, and then the water was still on at that point, and then a pipe burst. The pipe leading to our apartment burst, and so the water got turned off,
Okay.
and it was off for a few days. We did what we had to do during those few days. Um,
You know, we went and got water from our pool
yeah,
for our toilets,
yeah.
because I filled up the bathtub, but apparently there's a leak in my bathtub and it's not
Yikes.
flush. And so that was super fun. Um, yeah, and I don't know how, but like my water was off and I still had, I mean, I'm assuming it has to be from the roof, but I still had a leak in my ceiling and now I have like a giant crack in the ceiling of my dining room from it.
Yeah, that sucks. I saw this picture of this lady, not her, the lady herself, but the picture of this person's SUV in a parking garage in Galveston, and like a pipe burst above her SUV and just like encased it in ice.
Oh, I saw that where she was like panning around the
No, that was
parking garage
that.
and like
Yeah, that was. I guess. Yeah, that was another person too. Like I said, like two people had like identically bad luck, which sucks. But what are you gonna do?
but I also bring this up to be like I did not play a lot of video games the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I because
How
I
dare you?
I and most of my teammates and people in my office did not. I just worked a bunch of overtime. So when I wasn't working, I was just tired. And then my mother-in-law like was in the living room, so I'm like, "Hey, stop watching your movie. I'm gonna play my PlayStation."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's rude.
Well, we all had. I mean, my work. We all kind of had the choice of whether to go or not.
Yeah.
So I had plenty of time to play video games.
So the choice Tom made is
Yeah.
apparent.
I mean,
I,
if
I
it wasn't also
platinumed
for
3
Habit
games
Pay, I
this last
probably
couple
wouldn't have.
weeks.
That's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty
What
good.
games?
The first one I played was this game called Air. I think it's like Memories of Old or something like that. It's okay. It's an okay. It's not. It's good. It's
Yeah.
good. But like, you can tell they really want to be that game company or Giant Squid, and it doesn't come close to those games.
Looking at that game, it very much seemed like it was trying to invoke that kind of vibe.
Yeah, and it is, and it doesn't do a great job of that. But it's got some entertaining puzzles, so it was fine. It's short and cheap, so yeah. If you can get on sale for like under $5, do that.
Sure.
Don't pay full price for this game.
No, I wouldn't.
Hey man, it's up to us. It's our money, man. We decide how much things are worth, right?
Sure.
So.
And then speaking of Giant Squid, I finished the Pathless and got that platinum.
That
That
game
one
got rave
is
reviews from Tom.
it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, I knew when I saw it that I would like it,
Yeah.
but like I really fucking love it, man. It's fantastic. Like I didn't think I would like it as much as I ended up liking it,
So what's the give me the elevator pitch of that game?
So basically everything is tied to movement for the most part, right?
Okay.
Like, so you're an archer, but you don't have to aim your shots. Your shots are going to hit their target. Like they're just going to. You have to time your shots.
Mm.
And in doing so, you get like these bursts of speed and stamina. So like you're shooting as you're moving, like it's tied to traversal in a really neat way. I guess like the closest comparison is something like Mirror's Edge, but they're still totally different.
Sure.
I was watching gameplay of it, and it kind of reminded me of like I don't know why. Like I think it just reminded me of Bound just because like, it does move differently than like most things I've seen.
Yeah. Except it's fun to play.
Yeah, yeah. There's the
Yeah,
difference.
But yet again, I only watch videos of Bound and I only watch videos of Pathless.
Bound
but,
was
there's
gorgeous,
definitely
but yeah, and then like it's got like these Zelda-ish puzzles and pretty simple boss chases and battles.
So, do you, like in the game, you just never stop moving?
No, you stop. I mean, you don't have to run,
I see.
but it's a pretty sizable open world, and there's no
Like
fast
how you
travel.
move around though?
Yeah, yeah. You're like shooting and running and jumping and shooting, and like it's just a lot of fun. Like it's like Spider-Man, right? Like Spider-Man,
Well, everything I saw
Insomniac
of it,
Spider-Man is just fun to just traverse the world,
Yeah.
you know. And this is very much like that. But yeah, the
like, you
puzzles are
can't run it
great.
because it didn't seem
Boss
like you could
battles are
run
great.
around without shooting.
You can,
Sorry.
yeah, you can just run or walk. You can't really, yeah, you can just run and not shoot as long as you have the stamina for it. And you can walk and jump and all that shit. But why would you want to do that? You know. But like, it's just really fantastic, really good game. And then finally, I got my Dirt 5 Platinum. Codemasters released a patch today, and I booted it up. I had like 3 or 4 trophies that were bugged before. Booted it up. One of them popped right away. I'm like, okay, awesome. And then the other 3 are just sitting there. I'm like, well, what the fuck? What about these other guys here? I need these too, you know? So I tweeted at Codemasters, and they're like, okay, well, do me a favor, bud. Go in and finish one race. So I went in, and I finished one race, and then one more popped, right? So then I was down to like 2 trophies. One of them is for Gymkhana event,
Yeah.
which like, I don't know if you guys know what Gymkhana is.
It's with all the stunt driving and shit.
Yeah. That was a pain for me to get the first time,
Yeah.
but I ended up doing it again, and it popped this time. And the other one's for driving 1,000 miles, which like that one I had no way of knowing if I had got before because there's no like counter or anything like that,
Right.
you know? Sinead, is your camera frozen? Or is that just the face you're making?
I'm just gonna. I had to go ahead and screenshot that because. I mean, what am I gonna do? You know.
What a weird place to freeze.
Just our face. I think we.
But
did-
anyway, so yeah, the last trophy just involved me driving for about 5 hours today, and then it popped. Still love the game.
Yeah.
Still say for playing it on another platform, even PlayStation 4, you're not going to have to worry about those problems. PlayStation 5 seems to be the only one with those trophy issues.
Yeah.
And they seem at least kind of fixed now.
So is that so? After that update rolled out, did the game crash at any point for you?
I had not had any crashes, but I've seen other reports of people having crashes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had no problems with it. Like, even when I was playing it before the patch, it crashed on me a couple of times.
Yeah.
But people are talking about it like it's a very regular occurrence.
So, yeah, this guy in one of my groups, he posted a screenshot of like it was just like a list of all the crashes he's had with that game since the update. And
Yeah. It didn't crash for me at all today. Like,
Yeah.
since the update, it's not crashed once for me.
yeah, that
But
sucks. Oh, there goes.
no. At least we don't have to look at that disapproving face anymore.
I don't know. I was enjoying it. Man, it sucks that we lost Shanae because I had a feeling that she would enjoy my recounting of the experience of one of the games that I played this week. But maybe she'll come back.
Anyhow, if you're on PS5 looking for something to play, don't skip the Pathless.
Yeah.
And if you like racing games, play that. There's no shortage of PS4 games to play on your PS5. But if you're looking for PS5 games, like, those are 2 good games I think a lot of people are not playing.
Yeah. Shanae,
Hi there.
welcome back. I need you to know something.
I'm fired.
You're not. It's just the face you were making is gonna have to be.
Yeah, it paused on your face for a good while.
It's gonna have to be the thumbdale of this week's episode.
Like several minutes you were making this funny face.
It was just
It took me a while, and I actually said, "Today, are you frozen, or are you just making that face?"
So I got.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. Yeah, I don't know what was up. I had my phone connected to one charging port because I didn't realize how dead it was, and I'm using it to record. And when I started the podcast, it said green. It was charging. I guess it stopped at some point, and so my
Fine.
phone just died. But I'm back now.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Um, I really want to know what that face is.
You'll see it. You'll see it soon enough. Like if by the end of tonight's recording, if I can just keep it in mind to make sure that I paste it somewhere, then you'll have it.
I don't know if y'all talked about it, but did either of you get to catch anything from Nintendo Direct?
Yeah, I watched the majority of it. You know what sucks is like between the Nintendo Direct we got and the BlizzCon we got, I feel like people are talking a lot of shit, and like I thought both were pretty great.
So what's the problem?
When I look at the lineup for Nintendo Direct afterwards, like I saw a bunch of like infographics of people talking about all
Yeah.
the games that were mentioned and like their
Yeah.
time frames. I was like, I'm pretty excited for a lot of these. Like I'm
Yeah,
not like
well,
I mean, I know
people are
some of these are
pissed about
ports.
Skyward Sword. Well, okay, so everyone was like, well, why couldn't it have been Twilight Princess or Ocarina? Skyward Sword is the only 3D Zelda game that has yet to have a remaster.
Yeah.
That's why it's Skyward Sword. Not to mention, like, Skyward Sword kind of has, like, the opposite of Wind Waker, where, like, when Wind Waker came out, no one liked it, and now everyone loves it. And when Skyward Sword came out, it got, like, perfect fucking scores, and now everyone shits on it.
So this is another one
I
of
don't know
those.
shits on it, but like I've heard a lot of really good things about it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of, like Twilight Princess, yeah, same console, but we have plenty of time for it to come out. Just because this one was remade doesn't mean the other one's like
Right, and
well,
we just got Twilight Princess Remaster, you know?
yeah.
Like,
So this
literally every 3D Zelda except for Skyward Sword.
This
That's
is-
why
th-
they did Skyward
This is
Sword.
another one of those times where I don't know why. Because, well, one, I've never played Skyward Sword, right?
Yeah.
But even if I had, I guess I would. It's one of those times where I'd be like, I don't know what's bad about this game. I don't know why people hate it.
Assuming people are bitching about the motion controls, because,
Okay.
like, at the time, like I said, if you look up Skyward Sword reviews, I'm pretty sure it got a perfect IGN score, like shit like that. It did very well.
Right.
Nowadays,
But-
people hate it. I think it was mostly because of motion controls,
Mm.
which are still here, but you don't have to use them anymore, which is nice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But even like I played a couple RPGs that like on the Wii that utilize the motion controls, and I never felt like they were that bad. Like, yeah, it's a little gimmicky, but like,
To be fair,
what?
the motion controls in Skyward Sword were a little heavy-handed,
oh,
but like it wasn't terrible, and people fucking loved it when it came out. Like I said, it's opposite Wind Waker, man. People just, I don't know.
it's like I
Same
think of
thing
like
with the whole BlizzCon thing, right? Like, yeah, we didn't see too much of Diablo 4, but we saw some, and like, I'm psyched for Diablo 2.
Yeah. Diablo
Like,
2
that's
is great.
awesome.
Yeah. If I,
You know?
I can
It
play
was.
I can play Diablo 2 again. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's great. You know.
And I thought
I'm
the
all about
single
it.
player Overwatch stuff looked cool.
Yeah.
I thought the Splatoon 3, man, I'm psyched for that. You know, like, I don't know.
you
People
need,
just
needs more
want-
splats.
People want what they want, and I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like Overwatch in the last 4.5 years has gone further and further and further into this like hardcore esports territory, and now it's like people are like super particular about Overwatch, and I just I think that there's room for people to take it seriously in that super competitive sense, and people who want to just enjoy those characters in a single player context. I think there's room for both.
Well,
of
and
that.
there's the thing, right? The single player doesn't take away from the multiplayer.
Exactly.
You know?
It's still there.
Yeah.
And, as far as the whole Diablo 2 thing, because I heard other people ask what you asked.
Yeah.
Does this not take away from Diablo 4 development?
Well,
But
that's
no.
not,
It's Vicarious Visions.
that's not
You know?
that's not really what I asked. What I guess like my whole thing was like I don't think that they are subtracting from Diablo 4's development. I guess that I was more curious as to why, like, if they have these extra resources, why not supplement the existing dev team to make sure that Diablo 4 is, as good as it possibly can be,
because that's not what Vicarious Visions does anymore.
Yeah.
Vicarious Visions does this.
Yeah.
They do Tony Hawk and Crash Bandicoot and now Diablo. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
But most people really aren't looking at the developers or producers or companies. They're just looking at titles.
Yeah.
So they assume that because it's the same title,
Yeah.
or like the same franchise, I should say. Like, that's not how it works. You don't have just these people only do this game and all
Dude.
iterations of it.
Ninja Gaiden fucking collection coming out. Like, I don't know. To me, it was like mini fucking E3. I was excited.
Oh, did you hear about Itagaki's fucking new studio?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, apparently, like he's been like after like his like forever long hiatus, like he's apparently spent the last few years like teaching game dev to people, and now he's like making games again. So looking forward to more Aerosmith at the beginning of video games now.
Sure.
I really felt like it's been missing in the community recently. Is Aerosmith starting games?
Yeah. Every Dead or Alive game.
Yeah, I also
Crazy.
like. I mean, the direct also made me like side eye again, possibly buying Bravely Default 2. Like,
What?
well,
Because it looks funny.
no,
How's-
as in like
does it look
I
funny?
want to get it on the Switch.
Oh, okay.
As in like I
Dude,
could buy
that
you.
fucking Project Triangle strategy.
Oh yeah.
That looks so fucking rad.
I watched someone playing it the other day.
Yeah. It looks like Final Fantasy Tactics, man.
Yeah, I watched someone
Yeah.
playing it the other day, and it looks really cool. So I'm anxious to spend some time with it when it does come out. But
Mario Golf.
oh yeah,
You know?
hell yeah, Mario Golf.
I don't know. I think they were both pretty great.
Well, I guess I'm just wondering, like, what is it that people wanted out of the direct?
Well, out of Nintendo, they wanted Metroid and Breath of the Wild 2.
Okay.
You know?
Well, I mean, look, I feel like you will those are things that you will hear more about eventually, but why not in the meantime Mario Golf?
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I'm saying.
Mario Golf is great, and I'm actually looking forward to playing that, because I actually haven't played Mario Golf in, I guess, like 15 years now.
No, didn't you play the 3DS one with me?
I don't feel like I did.
No.
Mm-mm.
Also, I think the Skyward Sword Joy-Cons look super good. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
And then
Not for me, but they're cool.
the
That
normal.
Switch, the fucking Splatoon Switch, though, man. That's so fucking rad. Because, like, so they did the Mario Switch, right? The
Yeah.
red one?
Yeah.
Where it's like the first time where a special edition Switch was not black,
Yeah.
right? That Switch itself is red. But now the Splatoon 3 one is yellow. Like, oh, man, that's so cool.
Was the Animal Crossing one black?
Yeah, it's black. The Joy-Cons are different colors.
I see.
The console itself is still black.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, my favorite game, Miitopia, coming to Switch.
It's coming back.
Fuck you, Miitomo. It's all about Miitopia. And then the Legend of Mana remaster.
Yeah.
Tales from the Borderlands coming.
Best Borderlands game, hands down.
Oh, the World's End Club, which is like the Zero's Escape games we talked about. Like,
That's been on.
Is it? Because, like, Zero Escape was always known as the Nonary games.
well, yeah.
So is it in that same vein? Like, is it part of that?
Like, I don't think it's like a part of that, because I think it's like I think it's a new, like, but it also makes sense because, like, The World Ends With You is one of their things. I don't really know.
That's
I don't-
different.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
So the Nonary games are like 999 and stuff.
Well, I
like
know.
that.
Oh,
World's End With You is an RPG.
yeah. Well, 99, and then, well, 99 still related to World Ends With You. It was, no, World Ends With You
No.
was Square Enix, because that's
Yeah.
why it's in Kingdom Hearts. Duh.
Yeah. Splah. Some
Splah.
fan you are, Sinead.
Yeah, the worst.
I eventually got there. Uh, but yeah, so I mean that looked. I remember seeing that. That looked good. And then yeah,
Ninja
I guess
Gaiden, man, because it's not just coming to Switch; it's coming to fucking PS5, which means Ninja Gaiden with like probably over 100 FPS. It's gonna be great.
I
so. As but
I just had to make sure
Go
that I
ahead.
got that image saved of Shanae's face. It was like bothering me, and I was like worried that's like something was gonna happen. I would lose it.
It's like when you misplace your valuables, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this week though, Tom, you wanted to talk about.
Oh, we're not gonna talk about the games I was playing. That's cool.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gone for a little bit. I didn't know we touched upon that. Hey Ryan, what did you play this week? Or the last 2 weeks?
Glad you asked, Shanables.
Sudoku?
I didn't actually play any Sudoku because fuck that game. But so I've actually played quite a bit. One of the things that I played, Tom, is Dirt 5, and I can't hear you.
Did you get the platinum?
No, I didn't get the platinum. I didn't play a whole lot of it. I did a few races. Um,
You hear that Troy Baker Nolan North combo?
yeah, I am not into that, but
I thought it was pretty cool.
I'm not.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
I just well, that's to be like well, up until this point, it's always been Travis Pastrana and some other dude, and I guess I'm just over it at this point. Uh, and then, but the game itself, very very fun. Uh, I'm having a lot of like it. Actually, it was like it's not. I don't know. I think like when I was driving and like especially like a lot of like the really like the really dirty muddy off road courses, I was like my mind kept drifting back to MotorStorm, and I was like, man,
Well,
really,
it's the same devs, basically.
yeah. And I'm just like, man, this isn't filling the void that MotorStorm left, but it's helping me a little bit.
It's the closest thing right now, though, right? Like, even more so than Onrush.
Yeah,
Because Onrush, while I liked Onrush a lot and I played a good bit of it, like, it's all competitive.
yeah,
You know, it's racing Overwatch.
yeah,
That's what that game is. And if you just want like a regular fucking racing game, I feel like this is the closest you're gonna get to
yeah.
MotorStorm. I bought recently like some fucking ATV Supercross dune buggy game,
Yeah, I was looking at
and it
that.
fucking blows.
Does it? Okay.
Sucks so
Thank you
bad.
for saving
Yeah.
me the money because I was
Yeah.
actually looking at that.
It was only like
I'm glad that your
$3,
disappointment saved me disappointment.
Yeah, it's on sale for like $3.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Fuck it, I'll roll the dice." But no, it's real bad.
Yeah. So I had a lot of fun with it. So I tried it in both resolution and performance mode just to test it, and I kind of stayed with performance mode on that just for the fact that like it's a I don't know as for a racing game that's kind of where I want it.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm probably gonna put more time into it. I like the customization options, like they're like as far as like the way you're painting your car and everything.
Oh yeah.
They're all like it's got like a lot of really fun decals and stuff that you can put on your car, and I really like it. Um, I also I think last month or the month before we got the first Hitman as as a PS Plus game, and I actually finally put some actual time into that game this week, and I was excited to talk about this game this week because I thought that this is something that Shanae specifically would be into, and I would like to recount one of the
Is this
missions.
going to make fun of me, or is this going to be a genuine thing that you think I might like?
I guess you'll have to find out, but I'm not making fun of you, Shanae.
Little column A, little column B.
I mean, it depends on what your interpretation of make fun of Shanae is. One of the
This is
staples,
gonna make me cry.
one of the staples of the Hitman games has always been, you know, using different disguises to like kind of blend in and get closer to the target and everything. So after the training missions, like your first actual mission is you're going to this high profile modeling show.
The fashion show, yeah.
Fashion show. I don't know why I said modeling show. A high profile fashion show.
Man, that one was fun. I
to,
forgot
to
about that
assassinate
one.
these two targets, right? It's a power couple, if you will. And so you're basically you assassinate one and then you assassinate the other. So with the husband,
Wait, did you walk down the runway?
could you let me get to it?
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, so with the husband, it was pretty standard. You know, I disguised myself as a member of the bar staff, and found out what his favorite drink was, and then poisoned it. After I made the drink and then I poisoned it. What's funny is something happened a couple of times with these attempts where I had to keep reloading the save to go back to the beginning. But on the actual successful run was I made the drink, but the guy, the husband, he was ahead of schedule on his loop. And like, so I made the drink, and like right as I was finishing making the drink, he was walking up to the bar, and I literally poisoned the drink like right in front of him.
Just adding in some bitters.
I pulled out this large tube of rat poison, and I look around, and like right in front of him, I pour the rat poison into the
It's
drink.
got like fucking skulls on it and shit.
I pour the rat poison like right
It's for flavor.
into the drink, and then he like, and it's funny because he's literally watching me do this, and then he stands there for a second, and I'm like, is he just not gonna? And then for a second, I was like, he's not gonna drink the drink because he saw me do it, but he picks up the drink and immediately,
it's not that intuitive.
he immediately picks up the drink and he gulps it down, and then like a second later, he's like, I don't feel so good, and then so
I wonder what it is, bud.
so he goes off to the nearest bathroom with his bodyguard, and I leave my post at the bar, and I'm like following them. The bodyguard stands guard outside the bathroom, and I just walk right into the bathroom after the guy, like as he's barfing in the toilet, and then like as he's barfing in the toilet, I like grab the back of his head, and, like I drown him in the toilet, and then like I put him in a conveniently placed nearby closet. And then I just walk back out of the bathroom, and no one says anything. And so, as Tom alluded earlier,
That's a good disguise.
So the funny thing about 47 is that like he, as far as disguising himself, he doesn't go any farther than putting on that person's clothes. He doesn't change his voice. He doesn't change his mannerisms, but he
doesn't put a wig on.
But he still passes as whoever he wants to be, and it's the funniest thing. And like, so there's this model that's going to be at the fashion show. That's like very well known model, and
Oh man.
and like and fortunately,
Do you impersonate the model?
so like the model apparently looks very much like 47. And like to the point where like you're walking by and these two people are like, hey, he looks like that guy looks just like the model. And so so I find the model. He's outside of his private helicopter, like getting his picture
Does he
taken.
look just like him?
Close enough, at least. Like they're both bald white guys. And that's about it. And like
Good enough for me.
so so after the model is getting photographed, he goes off into this garden to like take a phone call. And then like I sneak up behind him and I knock him out and I take his clothes and then like and his phone, and I call the lady that I'm supposed to kill, and I'm like, hey, so when do you want to meet up? And like she knows what this guy's voice sounds like, but Agent 47 is like, hi, when would you like to meet up? He's like,
But it says his name on the call.
Sure.
So why would you think any different?
The power of suggestion, if you will. And so like he was like, should I come up now? And she's like, no, you have to do the show first, and then come up and meet me after. And so I go to the dressing area, and I sit down in the makeup chair as this guy. And keep in mind that Agent 47 is like, he has this giant barcode on the back of his head. But like no one notices it. And so like I sit in the chair.
Another bald white dude. I would notice.
I sit in the
They
chair.
don't give a shit about their job enough. They have a lot of people that they got to do makeup and stuff too. They don't give a shit.
I sit in the chair, and like the guy puts the makeup on me, and like it's this very like weird like strange makeup that I'm supposed to be wearing. And so afterwards I go to the runway and I do the act. I like Agent 47 actually walks down the catwalk, and it's not even, he doesn't just do it. He doesn't just walk down the catwalk. He stops at the end and does that like that model look.
Oh,
that
yeah.
they all do.
That at the
Xbox
mall
Avatar
fashion
lean.
show.
Yeah, he does the lead, and then he like does the quick look, and then he turns, and it's like I fucking lost it because it's like, this is so ridiculous.
No, it's great.
It's but like the game, it's just so like, it's so fun, the different things that, like, the different ways that 47 can like just assume anybody's identity, and like you have so much freedom as to how you go about your objectives. But I did the catwalk
You
thing,
put the clothes on. It's good enough.
and I did the catwalk thing, and I go upstairs to the lady and talk to a lady, and like she's talking to me about someone else that I'm supposed to be scamming, and then like she gets a phone call, and like she turns her back to me, and I choke her out, and then the icing on the cake for me was that after I killed her and stuffed her in yet another conveniently placed closet, I walked downstairs to the person that I'm impersonating's private helicopter, and just let me on the helicopter, and I leave, and that's the end of the level. It was so fucking great. That game is awesome.
So are you just like, is the next level you're just still that model at that model's house, just chilling?
You guys ever like read or used to watch The Max?
I watched it on MTV Oddities.
Yeah, you remember the Izzes, the little black fellas?
Yeah.
So maybe Agent 47's like that, because like with those guys, any clothes they put on, that's what people see them as.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's just, and like so there was a lot of that, like, by thinking about that game was like, is this game supposed to be funny, or does it just happen to be funny? But then I got to the point, I was like, there's no way that
there are definitely things that are supposed to be funny, because there are some funny ways you can kill people.
Well, like, so here's what helped me decide that game is supposed to be funny. I was thinking back to when that was the newest game in the series, and then they were actively doing the elusive targets.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the time when we were supposed to vote on Gary Busey or Gary Cole as the next elusive target, and then Gary Busey won.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, if I'm killing Gary Busey in a game, so this has got to be for comedy. But yeah, it's a great game. Like, that game is very fun. The game is hilarious. I'm having
incredible levels.
Yeah, I'm having like
really
these
cool
levels.
levels.
These levels are huge, and like they're so detailed, and like there's all this stuff that people are like, the NPCs like are all doing these different things like seemingly in concert with each other, and it's just very intricate and gives you like a really good feeling of like, I could do this mission in any way that I can think of, and it's just it's really fun to kind of like experiment and see, you know, what you can actually get away with.
Yeah, I never really got into the Hitman series. As far as like, I knew what it was. I'd seen it like around. I'd seen like obviously the cover art for it and stuff.
Yeah.
But like whenever I watch the videos and stuff, I would just like see it only really pop up into like conversations where like people use it as an example that video games are misogynistic, which there's a lot of reasons that video games are misogynistic. Hitman, I don't think is like necessarily the best example. I've never played it. I don't know that.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, like, just because there's a strip club in there doesn't mean.
I mean, look, strip clubs exist, man. All right. So.
But to my knowledge of that game,
sex work is work, you know.
It doesn't seem like there's any more. It doesn't seem like there's any more like derogatory or violent murders towards like sex workers or women in general in Hitman than men. It seems like you kind of equal opportunity murder with that shit.
I think Agent 47 doesn't seem to have. He doesn't seem to care about any. He has no qualms about killing anybody. He doesn't care if they're a man. He doesn't care if they're a woman. He doesn't care if they're somewhere in between. He doesn't care if someone tells him to kill somebody. He's just gonna do it.
He's gonna kill him.
He's gonna kill him. He doesn't care. So
I want them to do a Hitman level in a grocery store, and at some point you have to scan his head.
It's just funny because like, no matter what his disguise is, he's like, if it's a job that he's supposed to be doing, he's just good at that job. He just knows how to do it. It's so funny.
I mean, he put the clothes on. It's half the battle right
Yeah.
there. Like
Hit,
I don't know what else like you want from him.
yeah.
It's just like it's enough.
Hitman is like
But
Kirby, except he doesn't have to
but
eat
I
you to get your powers. He just needs
Point.
he needs your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
but I didn't realize like there's like such variance in ways that you can play because like on that guy that you murdered that you like poisoned, could
Yeah.
you have killed him a different way?
Yes.
So many different
Yeah,
ways.
there are different ways, and like the cool thing about it,
So that's what I didn't know. I thought it was like generally like you just shoot the guy or you could do a couple
Nah,
things.
it's like here's the level, and the level is a fucking playground,
yeah.
and you got to kill these people, but there's a fuck ton of different ways you can do it.
So and like what you
so
want.
even more. So yeah, it just kind of reminds me of like so it sounds like what Assassin's Creed wanted to be like.
So and like your goal is always trying to like you only ever want to kill the people that you're there to kill. You don't want to kill anybody else. And also doing so, you want to.
Well, I'm not getting paid for that.
Yeah, and you want to, but you only want to kill them in a way that is that can either look accidental or and at the very least is out of eyesight of anyone else.
Discreet.
Yeah, so that's where you get the highest rating. But like at the same time, there are ways where you can So, for example, I poisoned the guy and then drowned him in the toilet. Right. What I could have also done is at some point he goes onto the catwalk to like make a speech to everybody to like thank them for being there. There's some rafters above the catwalk where you can break some kind of this winch that's up there, and then it'll drop a
Think about the opera, this shit.
yeah, and like you can just drop a chandelier on him and kill him that way. But
Dope.
So
like the IO games, especially with the IO games, right? And I think a couple of the older ones do it as well. It's like here's the level, and like there's a bunch of ways to kill them, but like they'll give you like this list of challenges.
Yeah,
you know. So there's a lot of replayability there.
And I'm excited. Like after playing this and spending time with it, I'm like really excited to see what they do with that Bond game they're making. Because I feel like that's going to be really, really dope if like Hitman is any indication. Also, I finally bought my own copy of Breath of the Wild, which is
nice.
So I was at the point where I was afraid to play my PlayStation because I didn't know if the power was going to go back out while I was playing it.
Yeah.
So I ended up spending a lot more time playing on the Switch. So I played Breath of the Wild. That game is great. I've been hearing like a lot of people lately talk about how much they don't like that game because it's apparently not a true Zelda game. I don't know enough about The Legend of Zelda to know what that means.
There's a lot of absences.
I see. All I know is that game.
It's still a Zelda game, so
yeah. All I know is that game is a lot of fun to play, and I enjoy it a lot. Also, I'm not going to really get too much into the other games that I've been playing. I just want to say that Dan returned to Street Fighter V today, or returned to Street Fighter and Street Fighter V today. And I got to I labbed with him for a little bit, and then I did a couple matches online before the show, and he is a lot of fun to play. He is like I'm having a great time with him. He's always been a character that I liked. I've never been able to decide if I like him ironically or not, but I think I like his I've always liked his personality. I like that he's all about defending the honor of his dojo and making his papa proud. And it's just
Seikyo Dojo.
Yeah, his moveset is immediately clicked with me today, and I feel like I'm gonna really enjoy playing as him. I played as and then also 11 came to Street Fighter as well, and
Today?
Yeah, him
I know that.
Him and Dan dropped today, and I was
I thought you were saying 11 from Stranger Things. I was like, okay.
Yeah, they put that little kid in there.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, Street Fighter. I was gonna go with it. I was like,
well, look, man. Ryu has
if Tekken can put Negan, you know.
Yeah, if Tekken, like, why not? All bets are off, right? I think that like people are gonna have some qualms about these muscular, full-grown men punching a little girl in the face, regardless of her whether or not she has telekinetic powers. Uh,
I mean,
but
you never know. People choose random things to be mad
then
about.
then again, then again, I did see this GIF a while back making the rounds of Joel from The Last of Us, um, beating up Ellie from the first The Last of Us, for like as she appeared in the first The Last of Us game. Like they switched her character model out.
Where did you find this and what were you looking for, Ryan? Should we be concerned?
Should we be concerned? But but no, like what I'm saying is that like I think at one hand I think that people would have qualms with beating up a preteen child in a video game, and then I remembered that people seem to be completely unbothered by someone switching out an enemy character model of The Last of Us with Ellie's character model and like getting a laugh out of that. Uh, so I guess there's kind of all bets are off with that shit. Um, but yeah,
Go fast.
I think that honestly, Tom, I know, I know, I know what Dan's history is, but as he is now, he's legit fun, and he feels really good to play, and I'm looking
I
forward.
mean, I think he's always been fun, but
Yeah.
he's been fun because he's been a challenge.
He doesn't. He
know,
does
like,
not.
If
But
they made him good, I don't like that.
I know that you. And as I said before, Tom, I know that you're. I know how you feel about that sort of thing, and they don't. You don't. He's got a history of being a joke, and I get that, but I don't have a problem with them making him good, and also Ryu got quite the buff as well, so people seem to like him now, but yeah, so that's basically what I've been playing this week.
I did forget to mention one thing I've been playing, and also what I did. At least I don't think I did. Did I? This is gonna be terrible for our listeners, but I modded out my Game Boy before
Oh
the snow
yeah,
happened.
yeah, cool.
So
You were talking to us a little bit about that.
I can't remember. You said you got that screen backlit, right?
Yeah, so it's backlit, and then also, so my friend Sean, who like purchased this for me as the birthday gift, he came over with a soldering iron, so I got to use a soldering iron for the first time outside of like a middle school class. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's backlit. Obviously, it's not great for like anybody, but if I hit select and then like do the bumpers, I can do the brightness.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Yeah.
that you can see.
If you go to youtube.com/save continue podcast, you can see what Shanae's talking about.
But yeah, so it's been like super nice. I've been playing Golden Sun again. And it's like all pretty. And so this was like pretty fun. And also it came with a rechargeable battery at the
Oh,
USB-C
nice.
port. So so not only does that happen, it's like it's just a whole lot nicer.
Sure.
And it's been making me like revisit my old games. And I realized that I still have not been able to find my Pokemon Blue. And I actually was recently, a couple days ago, talking to a friend of the podcast, Salvador Tank Rodriguez from the Tank Rodriguez show, and he's been really getting into buying video games and consoles.
Yeah, I
He was
feel
showing
like
his collection.
he had mentioned, I think like the first time we met him, he was kind of talking about doing that, and I've been seeing him post like all these different purchases that he's made. So he seems pretty excited about it.
He's basically GameStop status now. Like he has more games than them. He just has less Funko Pops.
Sure.
Uh,
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
yeah, he was showing me like all of his shelves and stuff. Man, before this pandemic, you had like 4 games.
Sure. I mean, what else you got to do, you know?
So yeah, it seems like he's been having a lot of fun with that. But yeah, no, it's been but he's also been buying broken consoles and repairing and selling them. So he was showing me his like setup, and I was like, oh man, it's a lot more common than I thought it was. Like now that I did this one first mod, I've been finding out how many coworkers do it, and it's been really exciting.
Yeah. You're a GBA modder now.
No, I just did my first mod,
Okay.
so and I had a lot of fun with it. Sean saw me blow some gaskets, as Shanae does.
Cool.
But yeah, I forgot to mention that. But
Cool.
it's been pretty exciting for me.
I'm happy for you, Shanae.
Yeah, so now Tom, what about you wanted to talk about is things in the video game industry that people think are good, but are actually just bad.
Yeah. So, what was it? A few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago. Do you guys remember the day that Microsoft raised
Yeah.
the Game Pass
One
and
hundred twenty
Xbox
dollars
Live price,
a year.
and
From
then
$3.
promptly dropped it back down
We heard you.
after people raked them over the coals.
Yeah, we've heard you.
So it got me thinking about Game Pass, and like, we've said on this show, and so many people in games journalism talk about like what a good thing Game Pass is, and all the consumer friendly things that Microsoft does. But like I started thinking about it, I'm like, really, is it that good? And like I really kind of don't think it is that great.
Yeah.
And I think it's
For
actually
a dollar
bad.
a month. Yes.
I actually think it's bad. I want to tell you why I think it's bad, and it's bad, in my opinion, to the retailer, the consumer, the developer, and in fact to Microsoft themselves. So yeah, let's start with that. Xbox Game Pass has not been profitable yet. Are you aware of this? They have not made a profit off of Game Pass yet.
That's not surprising. I mean,
Yeah.
most streaming services, whether it's games or movie or like TV shows or anything like that, they don't make any money for the first 10 years.
You're correct. And this is actually where Netflix comes in. It kind of made me think about Netflix quite a bit.
Netflix took 15 years to make it their first profit.
Right. So Netflix didn't used to do their own original content. Okay. Netflix used to license out shows, and they still do license out a lot of shows and movies, right? The Office and crap like that. But once the people that own those licenses, once the companies that own those licenses realized, well, we could just do our own fucking thing,
Yeah.
And make more money that way, Netflix had to start making their own content.
Yeah.
And I think that Xbox Game Pass will eventually lead to them making their own, not first party content, but content that's exclusive to Game Pass. It's logical, right? It's the next thing that's likely for them to do, especially if we just told them you can't raise the price.
Yeah.
Right? So, in doing that, they've got the choice of what to develop, right? If they develop a game that's some rich single player or even rich multiplayer experience, that gets you to subscribe for a month, maybe for 2 or 3 months, right? Whereas if they develop more games as a service, that gets you to subscribe for longer. So I think that's what you'll see with their specific games. There's no way of knowing that, right? But if it's not profitable right now, it's not sustainable as is. It's something that they will have to work on.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate on that one point, like, that doesn't make it bad right now, though. It just has the possibility of being bad.
Oh, I'll tell you plenty of reasons why it is bad, Sinead.
I'm just saying on that one. I did say on that one point.
Right.
Because, like, it's not even just, I mean, there's also, like, a reason why even before Netflix started making their own original content, they would only wait till the entire season of a show came out and put it out there. It wasn't just for viewers' experience. It was because that's significantly cheaper than making a contract with the network to get regular episodes.
Sure. So, I mean, that information comes from Aaron Greenberg, right? So this is like official Xbox people. Phil Spencer tweeted out when Control was first coming out that Control was going to be on Xbox Game Pass. Remedy never intended for Control to be on Game Pass. It was never on Game Pass. But because Phil Spencer tweets this out, Remedy sees a huge decline in pre-order sales because people are like, why would I pre-order it when I'm going to get to play it over here for free?
Right.
Okay.
Fair.
I think that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Not to mention, if you are a developer and you do agree to have your game on Game Pass, much like these television networks, NBC, ABC, Fox, whatever, you are not getting paid that full price of that game for your game to be on that service. So that leads to one of two things. Are these companies doing it themselves, which we've already started to see, right? EA, Ubisoft, Epic, all these places are doing it themselves now, right? It's the equivalent of Peacock. It's the video game equivalent to Peacock, right? You know, wouldn't you rather do that? Or just not launch your game on Game Pass as a new game, wait till it's sold, and then put it on Game Pass?
Yeah.
With it being a subscription service the way it is, this also does open up the possibilities of doing something similar to like a pay-per-view event, or how Disney Plus is doing those like premium releases where you get to play the game or get to watch the movie like at the launch date that would have been in theaters, but then like 3-4 months later, everybody gets it.
Sure.
So you can get like that early access. I mean, that would make it more enticing for developers if they did do something like that if they're going to be on Game Pass.
Right. And who's to say, right? Like we don't know what they're going to do with all that shit. But one thing that's just a fact, though, right? And this is my last point, probably my biggest point on this, is that if you are an Xbox gamer who likes to play Xbox games, Xbox consoles are currently the worst place for you to play those games. Because if you have Xbox Game Pass, right? And you paid Microsoft for their new shiny fucking machine, right? You paid them that money. You still have to pay for gold.
Yeah.
Whereas if you play on PC or you pay through xCloud on your fucking tablet or whatever, you just have to pay for the Game Pass. You don't got to pay for gold.
Yeah.
So why are they fucking the people that fucking support them the most, you know?
Sure.
Like, I don't know.
Because they don't give a fuck about their hardware. We've talked about it before. GameStop. Weird.
Shouldn't projecting
Xbox.
again.
I don't know.
Their hardware's all they have. They don't have any. Yes, they've got fucking Excel, but is it for in the game space? Their hardware is all they fucking have right now.
But they've obviously made it very apparent they don't give a shit about their hardware. Why they've made that decision, I don't know. They've made it very apparent they don't give a fuck.
And then for retail, obviously it's bad for retail. Digital in general is bad for retail, right? But like, you know, like it literally hurts everybody that it touches, and I don't know. Like I used to think, like,
consumers.
It hurts consumers too. It hurts their consumers that spend the most. If you're a casual Xbox consumer, sure, you benefit from it. But if you're some diehard fucking Xbox fan who bought their console day one, you hurt the most from it. You know?
True, but if you're like a PC player who's like,
right.
like tired of your stream library, you know?
But it's just like, you know, I don't know. I used to think Xbox Game Pass was like the best fucking thing, and the more I looked into it, I was like, this is really not good. It's really not, you know. Unless like Sinead said, you just happen to be a PC gamer who wants to play some Xbox games, then it's good for you.
Yeah.
And no one else. Not even Xbox.
You know?
I mean, not unless they change the structure of it.
Which I'm sure they will. But as it stands now, you know.
I think that for me the most interesting thing that came out of Xbox initially saying that that they were going to do that, you know, $120 a year thing, and then when they walked it back, I think after that happened, I saw, you know, kind of a what's the word? I guess a revival, for lack of a better word, of the conversation about the idea of paying for online access on these consoles. Because like I think that like at the turn of the century, I feel like it made more sense, especially when we're talking about, because like when you think about like with when you think about the way that PlayStation was doing it, which is where PlayStation at the time, PlayStation wasn't charging, but like these companies were like hosting their own servers, and everything was kept separately. Like every game, the service of every game was like kept kept separately, like SOCOM and, you know, Resident Evil Outbreak were like their own separate services, right?
Right.
Whereas Microsoft, when they rolled out Xbox Live, was like, hey, we have this whole infrastructure that we're using, and we can, we have servers that you can host the online component of your game.
Yeah.
But now, in the last almost 20 years, like the last 18 years, like like developers and publishers, like they host their own games now. They have their own. They're like hosting their own servers.
Sure.
Now. And
for the
The
most part, you're right.
Origins.
I mean, here's the thing, though, right? Like, any of these companies, once they realize that you will pay for something,
yeah,
they're not going to be like, okay, here it is for free.
Sure.
Until they have to, right?
Right.
Until there's a reason for them to do so.
That was just like with the $120 thing. It's just like, well, like if no one says anything,
right?
Then like people are going to be paying $120 a month, right? But like obviously people immediately were like, what the fuck?
And there's even differences there, though, right? Like with PlayStation Network, if a game's free to play, I don't have to have Plus to play online.
Right.
With Xbox Live, I do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's the thing, and as always, that was one of the conversations for a long time when it came to playing online on computer versus playing on a console, is just the idea that you're paying for the online service with your console, right?
Yeah.
And I think all the time about, like, not all the time, but like normally around the time when like I was like maybe playing, let's say, an MMO, right, that is available on console. Like I'm playing
DC Universe,
I guess, or I guess more to my personal experience, like Final Fantasy 14, right? And I'm paying the subscription for Final Fantasy 14. I'm paying the subscription for PlayStation Plus, so I can play Final Fantasy 14. And whereas I do it elsewhere. I can I do it on computer, and I'm only paying the subscription for Final Fantasy 14, and obviously my internet bill. But I'm not paying a middleman to let me access that game, right?
Right.
And I think that was what was interesting to me about the whole thing that happened with Microsoft, is just like the whole thing with paying these premiums for it. And then you talk about Game Pass, and like, yeah, on paper that sounds like a hell of a fucking deal, right? Like, especially when they're running these promotions, it's like for $1 for the first month.
Yeah. Exactly.
Play all these fucking games you want, man. And like on paper that sounds great. But like the longer this goes on and the more you look into it, just like, what is this?
Well, and the price hike, obviously someone at Microsoft said, hey, we've got to start profiting here at some point.
Well, yeah. Right.
But I mean, that lasted 12 hours, so.
It lasted 12 hours, and then someone looked at the internet and was like, hold on.
Yeah.
But and what's funny, I guess, is that obviously the comparison always comes in the console space. The comparison comes to PlayStation Now and Game Pass, and the conversation has always been that Game Pass is the better value between the two services.
Absolutely.
Which, while true, is also at the same time while true, like all the other shit that you've been talking about also comes with that. So it's the best value, but like that's the best value between these two things. And
it's changing now, right? Like, I know very few people have a PS5 now, but Plus gives you that the Plus collection now.
Yeah.
Which is like, you don't pay any extra for that if you're on PS5.
Yeah.
And you've got like a fucking generation of AAA games to download and play.
Yeah, but then I think about like what you were talking about with Remedy getting on Game Pass. I was like, well, I don't want my fucking game on Game Pass.
Right.
I want people to buy these. I want people to buy this game. And like, yeah, you're gonna
I
get.
want to make money.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that was a Phil Spencer mistake more
Yeah.
than a Game Pass mistake. You
Well,
know.
yeah, but like at the
But
same time, like that's the dude he's the dude
Ooh.
he's the dude that's in charge of all that messaging, right?
I mean, he cost Remedy quite a bit of cash.
Yeah, and
You
so
know.
like obviously like
That they'll just never see. I'm sure.
yeah, and at the very least, that's a few angry emails that I'm sending to Phil Spencer, right?
Yeah.
And so like when you think about like yeah, like I get this amount of money up front for my game being on Game Pass, but then like that's a short term thing. Like I want to continue like people like I have people hearing about Control, hearing about how great this game is, instead of buying it and us getting revenue. Like they're just gonna go to Microsoft and they're gonna get the money for my fucking game. So like,
Well, not to mention like PS Plus has proven time and time again to pay the bills for a lot of developers,
yeah,
and Game Pass and Xbox Live in general has yet to do so. Right? Rocket League is what it is because of PlayStation Plus.
yeah,
So is Fall Guys.
sure,
You know,
sure.
like I don't know. I'm not
Where
saying
did Among
like
Us come from? Why did that pop off?
it's been around forever, dude.
Yeah, it's been
for
on-
some reason
I
it
know-
got
honestly, I
popular
know
this year, but
It's
yeah, I don't know.
it's on computer. That's where people.
I mean,
Well,
it's
but I
on
guess what I'm
mobile
saying is,
too.
like,
But I didn't know
it-
what other. I think it's on Switch too, but I just didn't know what made
Yeah.
that one pop off. So sorry, keep going.
But yeah, like it's not a guarantee that your game is going to succeed, right?
Yeah,
Their own first party game, Destruction All Stars, probably is not going to succeed, right?
yeah,
But like it's shown time and time again that it can make your game.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that like because I mean like I think about like especially Rocket League, right? With when I first saw that game I was like I don't like if I had to pay for that game I was like I'm not gonna play Rocket League because that does not sound like as a concept that doesn't sound appealing to me, right?
Yeah.
But you know, and I don't know how many, and maybe that was the case for a lot of people, but then like people ended up playing a lot of Rocket League as a result of it launching as a PS Plus game, and now it's making millions of dollars all the time with
Yeah,
like,
I
all
can
the
find fucking Rocket League toys at Target now.
yeah,
You know.
you know, and then I think and like the same thing with Fall Guys, right? Like that game fucking like when Fall Guys was announced, like I was like I don't really have that much interest in that game. And I will probably.
But you know what? I played it for a few hours. I
Yeah.
bought some cosmetics.
Yeah.
Like I gave them some of my money.
Yeah,
You know?
but like let's say that instead of it launching the way that it did, that you know there was a price tag attached to playing it. Like you might. I'm not saying that you wouldn't have, but you know you might not.
No, I
have.
wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I
So
wouldn't have.
you might. So you wouldn't. You would have never tried it, and then. You know, then they would have never gotten that money for those cosmetics you bought.
It's the same thing. Destruction All Stars, I have very little interest in.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try it. It's free for me. I'm going to give it a shot.
And I
you know?
definitely think that it is a boon for some games, right? That games that have like where I think that it serves as a good kind of proof of concept for some games, to give people a better understanding of like what the game is and whether or not they'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I do also think that like games with like that have like a pedigree behind them, like Control, like I think that like that's more of a hindrance than anything.
Yeah, and who knows, right? Control is on Plus this month,
Yeah.
right? But we're well out from the game's release. You
Yeah,
know?
like
Yeah.
like people have bought that game. You know, people have
Right.
bought DLC for that game prior to it being a PS Plus game. But
Yeah, it's going on a long time. I just wanted that's my example.
Yeah.
You know, of something that people praise dealing with video games. That really, I think, isn't that fantastic.
yeah.
Did you have an example of your own, Ryan?
Yeah, actually. So, I have my opinions about like, and I know that we've talked about this as like a full-fledged topic on the show before, but it's been coming up with like recent news that I've been seeing, and like thinking about adaptations of video games and television and movies and stuff. And I was thinking today about the announcement of that Twisted Metal TV series. And I'm just like, I guess I'm just like, well, I'm feeling more and more like I'm getting new video games in the form of television shows and movies instead of games that I can play. And like, and I'm wondering, sometimes I wonder, like, is the purpose of these adaptations to, I guess the purpose would be like, hey, you don't play video games, we want to get this property out in front of you so that you can see what this thing is. And then maybe if you like the show, you'll realize that there are video games that this stuff is based on, and you'll go about and buy them. I don't know, right? But I'd always been hoping that, especially in the case of Twisted Metal, that I was like, the next time I heard a Twisted Metal related announcement, it would be in the form of a worthy successor to Twisted Metal Black that I can play with a controller. And I see people like, they go nuts over, like, they go nuts either in a good way or a bad way over this stuff. And I was thinking about like the Mortal Kombat movie and like how people are like really psyched about
Dang,
it.
that trailer looks so good though.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm on that hype train.
Yeah,
I'm there.
And I've seen
First
people.
class.
Today, it's not his leg we're worried about. It's his arm.
So on that specific note, I think like Jax Briggs has lost his arms in like 4 different ways.
I mean, it's like
So-
it's like Sean Bean dying in every movie.
Well, like,
Jax
the-
Briggs is just gonna
and
lose his
also-
arms in different ways.
Yeah. Well, like,
All goes back around.
yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is, but
I don't know, like I don't know where we're gonna go with it, but I do say like feel like as somebody who also enjoys like comic books, I know when I started seeing a lot more comic book shows and movies, there were some parts of me that was like, but this is my thing, and they're gonna make it gross and not like it.
and see that
I don't know, it's a different medium.
And what
I'm not-
what I'm saying is that like people, and like people, myself included, seem to think that it's a very, very good thing to be very precious about the properties that they're into. And
I understand you don't want something that you love to turn to shit.
well, see, that's the thing, Shanae. Like, okay, so
Either die a villain or you live long.
or you live long enough to be a Zack Snyder film. But like,
I meant die a hero, live long to be a villain, but die
Yeah.
a villain or live long to be a hero.
see, what's funny is that I was actually defending Zack Snyder like in a conversation an hour ago, but I know what that man is. Okay. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that like people think it's a good thing to be like very precious about the properties that they're into, and say, look, you have to do it this way every time. And like the example that I come
Yeah, Hibiki.
yeah, do him the right way, make him bad because he's supposed to be bad, and if he's good, I hate it. But like,
Yep.
but like,
I think
well, what I'm saying is like I looked at probably the most recent example would be the Monster Hunter movie, right? And as a Monster Hunter fan, I caught myself saying, "What the fuck? Why is Ti here? What's with the assault rifles? What's with the Hummers? What's with the helicopters? There's none of that in Monster Hunter." And then then I find myself like they're ruining it. But like, here's the thing, is that they're not. Like, those games are still those games. They are still those games. Those games still exist. They will not cease to exist just because this movie sucks.
Yeah.
And then with Twisted Metal, like the Twisted Metal Black, which is my favorite game in the series. That game,
it's a weird choice to make for a show. I'm gonna be honest. Out of all the video game IP, I do feel like it's a weird choice.
Well, Sony right now with their games to television initiative seems to be like throwing it at the wall and see what sticks.
yeah,
you know?
because Power didn't
I
work out so
guess.
well. What was Power's?
Power?
Power's
but
booth.
Powers was a PlayStation Plus exclusive. You see,
Sure.
Yeah.
I was like, Power the Stars show?
No, oh no,
Like-
no. I'm sorry. Their show was called Powers with an S. It was.
Yeah.
There were
I was like-
multiple powers.
Yeah,
Here.
Yeah,
starring Powers
okay.
Booth.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I do think that like something that I struggled with as like a fan of a lot of like written stuff that turned into movies and things like that. I think it's that even when you play these games, like you have these moments that you connect to and you feel awesome or you really love and you love this about this franchise
Yeah.
and you want someone to watch the show or movie and feel as cool as you did and like get why you love this.
Yeah.
Because it's never fun to like be like, hey, so I like this adjacent thing, but this thing that you're showing them is not good or it's not
Yeah.
what you experienced. Where like, no, but this is even cooler because it does this thing. And I have all those moments where I'm just like, it's a different thing. I let them enjoy it how they want to enjoy it, and like even though it's not giving me the same feelings like this original thing did, I'm just not gonna get that because I had this original thing.
I think like over time, I tend to agree with what Ryan's saying though. There are plenty of things that I love that have been adapted into just the worst fucking films or TV shows or comic books or games, right?
Yeah.
But like, I can still look back on the source material fondly and still enjoy that for what it is. Do I still bitch about some things? Like pretty much everything's Marvel's touched in the last how many years? Yeah, I do.
We were both having
but
a whole.
like,
Come at me about WandaVision. What you guys say about
We
it?
were.
I haven't watched it.
We were both
I
having a
have no
good time.
desire to watch it for that matter.
We were both having a good time with
But
Spider-Man: Homecoming. I thought we were having a good time.
sure.
Michael Keaton's in that.
I meant more the official MCU.
I see. Okay.
But you know, like I tend to just try to look at that stuff as more fan fiction because a lot of times it is that.
Yeah.
Not with MCU, obviously. That's writing by committee, which is gross to me.
And
but
sometimes
like,
it actually is fan fiction. Like it's
Yeah.
legitimately fan fiction.
Right. But like, you know, I think about like I've been reading a lot of Elseworlds comics recently, and like that's what that shit is too. And I love that shit. I pay for it, you know. I don't know. Like, yeah.
I
Some
just
of it's not so bad.
like I think that even if
We loved the first season of Mortal Kombat Legacy.
yeah, that shit. Oh shit, man, it was dope. And then Casper Van Dien showed up and fucked it all up. But but like what I'm saying is that like even like that's an example too, right? Like season 2 of Mortal Kombat Legacy was bad, but that didn't like make the games bad. And like
I didn't make season 1 bad.
Yeah, they did. Well, no, I don't know. I think Mortal Kombat 11 is fantastic.
I'm just fucking with you.
But even still, like with the Monster Hunter movie, right? Like that doesn't mean the game is bad because the movie is bad. And like again, these movies aren't. And like I often wonder like why like I feel like sometimes it's kind of a self-important question to ask like who is this movie for? And well, it's for people who like to, but like the answer is like it's people who like to watch fucking movies.
China.
It's for China.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
But
I mean,
like,
frankly, it is.
But like also like I think about Resident Evil movies. Obviously, aren't the games.
Yeah.
But
people,
like
there are people who like
I still
them.
find those movies enjoyable.
And
I liked them.
Sure.
And
But like, what I mean is like those movies. While you found them enjoyable, I'm sure there's plenty of people did. They didn't make money here. Just like Transformers doesn't make money here. Just like Monster Hunter didn't make money here. They make money in China.
But you know, I think that all these things are
wrong.
is that I think that all these things are is like these video games have concepts in them that you know we want to use for a movie that people who don't play video games would like, and that's that's fine because honestly like there are people who don't play Resident Evil or Monster Hunter or Mortal Kombat who will watch these things and they don't give a shit. Like they either like the movie or they won't, and they won't have an opinion one way or another about how closely it ties to the source material. And in my opinion, it just doesn't really matter that much. It's like these two things exist separately.
Does,
but I think
like it does like create the opportunity for a moviegoer who, like you said, doesn't give a shit about the source material. They might after watching that.
Yeah, but even if they do
watching
like
the Netflix.
But what I'm saying is like even if they do like it, if they like it, whether or not it's tied to the source material or not, if they like it, then they'll try the game, and you know either they'll like the game or they won't, right? But I don't know. I can't find the energy to like get upset about that stuff anymore.
Yeah,
So,
agreed.
I would say like so I never played like really a lot of the Witcher games or anything, but like
hello.
I really like. But I love the sh show, and Berto played a lot of Wild Hunt
Yeah.
and was like explaining some things to me. And there's things where he's like, I wish they would have done a couple of those things. But overall, I feel like that show got a lot of positive reviews from game players and non.
Yeah,
Granted, that game series has a lot more content to pull stories from
yeah.
than other
And it
ones.
was the same thing though, right? Like when Castlevania Netflix came out, I was poking holes all over it, but people love that. You
I
know,
still
people
love
love
it.
that show.
I
Yeah.
still love it.
And you know what? Symphony of the Night's still dope. So, you know.
Well, it's based on Dracula's curse, you see. But sure.
Well, you know what Dracula's Curse is based on? What's that lady's name? What's that lady's name who wrote that Dracula book?
Interview with the Vampire, Anne Rice.
Yeah, based on that. So, and who? What's,
It's not. It's not.
I mean, look. What?
You know what's funny is Bram Stoker's Dracula is actually a canonical part of Castlevania.
And that is great, Tom. It is great that you
Yeah.
know that. But where is the Gary Oldman?
How's it feel to be a nerd?
How come? Yeah, how come the Gary Oldman with his weird hair has never been in any of those games? They should have put that guy in there.
Or Gary Busey.
Like not even
Sure.
as Dracula, just like Gary Busey.
Just in one of the castles, like a little bit lost.
I considered doing a Gary
Um,
Busey impression, and I decided against it.
Glad.
Teeth aren't big enough.
Sure.
I could probably do a better one.
I mean, you're constantly doing one, so.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
I'm so fucking funny.
I'm gonna go cry now. I think you finally said the one joke on air that's actually mean.
Oh man.
No, I don't give a
I
shit about
broke
that.
ya.
I show a lot of gum when I smile.
Sinead, what you got?
I got nothing.
Okay.
I tried so hard,
Sinead just
but
likes
I
everything.
also no, it's not that I don't I like everything. It's just that I try to always see the reason why these things happened.
Sure.
And even if it's not for me, like it being a benefit to somebody in the world or being more of a benefit or at least being neutral rather than negative. I don't know. I I mean, I just try to think about things that I thought were bad.
Yeah.
But even then I'm like, well, it's just because it's bad for me doesn't mean it's bad for everybody else. I don't know. I had a really hard time with this topic and I got nada. Like,
It's all right. I think next week's topic, as long as you guys don't have something planned for next week, I got one that I think Sinead will excel at.
yeah, I think I made the joke about too many boyfriends in Atomy games
Sure.
about being bad. I don't know. Like I got nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I'm excited for a new topic that maybe I can think something of or think of something. God damn, I don't know what's wrong with me tonight.
You're okay, dude. You're doing
I'm
great.
sober.
You're doing good.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah. You need mommy's medicine.
Need some of them dank nugs.
Oh yeah, those dank snibbly jibbly gibbly nugs.
I want some Studio Ghibli nugs. Yes.
Studio Ghibli
Uh,
nugs.
I mean, I
Yeah.
smoke a bowl with my neighbor Totoro. It seems like a dope ass time.
Sure.
Also, I'll do a shot before next show. Maybe I'm just so nervous. I haven't seen y'all in a while, and I was just like, ugh,
Yeah.
I was looking at it. But yeah, that's all I got for this week. You can find us on the YouTubes. We got a Discord. We're on Stitcher, Podomatic, iTunes, Google Play, most podcast providers. We got some Instagram. And bye, guys.
Bye.